Welcome! Today we are going to continue Unit 3, looking at events that led to the Civil War, with a focus on the North and the South and what were the differences between these groups of states that are going to lead us to a conflict in our own country. Our focus for today is going to be on the South. This is a must-do assignment, so make sure you have your North versus South video notes out, and we are going to focus on the second part, which is the South. Today you're going to identify characteristics of the South versus what happened in the North. So we are focusing today on the bottom half, or the southern states, which are in red. As a reminder, this is a topic, and history is hard to learn sometimes, and it's going to cause feelings and emotions that might make you feel sad or mad, or just bring back other things that have happened. So know that I'm always here to listen and to take breaks as you need to. Also know that your voice and your perspective and your opinion matter. So even though it's hard, it's important history to learn, and we are going to go through and talk about this together. So we last time focused on North. Today we're focusing on the South, and you need to have your notes out that is in the bubble map form. There are 4 topics that we're looking at today: geography, economy, transportation, and society. So as you watch the video, you're going to be plugging in information into the bubble that corresponds with the slide and topic that we're discussing. Again, you can do this on computer or paper, whatever is preferable for you. And just as we go through, make sure you answer the Edpuzzle questions as well. So we are looking at the southern states again. Our southern states are in red on the map on your screen, and we're going to look at the geography. So geography is all about physical features, weather, climate. So we're going to look today at geography of the South. In the South, there are only 2 distinct seasons, winter and summer. They have much milder winters, so they don't get the crazy snow and sub-freezing temps that they do in the North. It's much more mild. It might get to freezing, but it won't stay there long if it does. So they have mild winters and long, hot summers, temperatures that go above in the 90s and are humid. And that is more true for the South than the North. So 2 distinct seasons. In the South, there's also plenty of rain, so they're able to grow crops for longer parts of the year. They also have better soil, so they can grow things like rice, sugarcane, tobacco, and corn. There's also a lot of swamps and marshes in the South. There's the Appalachian Mountains, and then there is a large network of rivers that connect, which we'll see how those play into the transportation in a little bit. So again, if you have not got these into your notes, this is what your bubble should start to look like. You can always pause and copy this down if you didn't get it from the last slide, and we will keep moving. Our second topic is the economy of the South. Economy is how they make money. We know in the North, they had a lot of factories and businesses and cities that were getting to be big, like New York City. In the South, it was very different. They focused more on farming and agriculture. So the economy in the South was primarily based on growing crops. There were large farms called plantations that were large plots of land where crops are grown through the labor of workers who lived on the land. And we have heard about this many times. Those workers were enslaved workers. Enslaved labor was what primarily happened on plantations. And on those plantations, cotton was the main crop that was grown to make money. The South did not have factories like the North did, and they primarily focused on farming and selling their crops through their river systems for trade. They did purchase goods from the North, such as clothing or tools or weapons, from factories in the North, because they primarily made things that you grew in the South. You don't have to write down everything. Write down what you think is important. Again, your bubble should start to fill up for the economy, and pause as you need to. Our third topic is transportation. In the South, you can see in the map over here that there are a lot of rivers in the South. So people and goods moved on these rivers. They used riverboats as a mode of transportation, and many of their cities were on or near water or riverways. They didn't want to put money and invest in paved roads or making things more easy accessible for cars. or railroads, they primarily used their water system as an easy way to transport people and goods. They did have a few railroads, but nothing compared to the north. So again, rivers were a major transportation system, and then they had these dirt kind of paths that they used as roads as well. Again, transportation bubbles should look something like this. If you need to pause, feel free. Just make sure you're getting these notes down. Our last topic is society. Society in the South was quite different than the North. Your wealth or your value was primarily based on how much land you owned. And just remember back then, it was very hard if you were a female or an immigrant or a person of color to own land. It was primarily white males that were allowed and able to afford and buy land because of laws and restrictions and opportunities that were just limited to other groups. In the South, there was 3 distinct social classes, so you were either part of the upper class, the middle working class, or the lower class. And when you were in that class, it was really hard to switch. So if you were a middle working class, it was hard to become rich and wealthy. So these distinct classes that you were probably born into were really hard to change from. In the upper class was the plantation owners. So if you had a big piece of land and a big house on it, you were part of the rich and the upper class. If you had a smaller farm where you were just taking care of your family and maybe doing some trading of goods, you were part of the working class or middle class. And then the lower class was our indentured and enslaved people, people that were working on different plantations or doing different farming and did not own property. And again, we know that this was primarily African Americans or blacks or immigrants that were in these situations. The upper class enjoyed parties and social events. As far as education goes, they had fewer schools in the South. A lot of children and adults couldn't read or write. And if there was an opportunity to go to school, it was primarily males that would go to school over females. A majority of blacks in the South were enslaved and not given opportunities. The freed blacks in the South were limited, but if they were, they often had skilled labor jobs such as carpentry or tried to start different small businesses to enhance and showcase their skills. Society in the South. Again, write down what you think is important or what you want to remember or what stuck out to you. You don't have to write down everything, and feel free to pause as needed. As we wrap up our information on characteristics of the South, it is now time to review your notes, to fill in your summary, and predict. So your first part of your summary is to list 3 facts that kind of stuck out to you for being true to the South. The second part of your summary is a prediction. We are looking at differences in the North and the South. All right, what differences do they have that you think were so different could have led to a war? Was there an issue? Was there a setup? Was there a structure that you think caused the start of the Civil War? So wrap things up by predicting why you think the Civil War is going to start. Thank you for joining me.